So these restaurants can develop quite a history for themselves. Take the NORWIN Diner, for example. It's over in western Pennsylvania, in Westmoreland County, not far from Turnpike Exit 7, Irwin. The NORWIN Diner is on Route 30, that old Lincoln Highway. It's a big mid-70s modern diner, but there were two earlier diners at this location. The two older diners were owned by the Cerro family. Louis Cerro Jr. says that when his dad opened this place, he didn't know a thing about diners.
But he knew what the people wanted, and he catered to the truck driver trade. He said, if you go down the road and you see a lot of trucks at a stop, that's where you want to stop, because you know they have good food.
Louis Cerro Jr. still lives in Irwin, PA. He and his wife now have a catering business. He was 11 when his father and his uncle opened that first Cerros in 1938. It was a Jerry O'Mahony diner with one of those porcelain enamel exteriors. The countertop inside was marble.
The diner itself had 16 stools and 4 booths. Now, a lot of people thought it was just a railroad car change, but it wasn't. It was built. We had about a 50 seating capacity. That wasn't enough. It got to the point that building up on the highway, the demand, and 30 was a big thing, especially since it led off the turnpike and everything came into Irwin.
So the Cerros decided to get a newer, bigger diner in the late 50s. Lou and his young family drove to New Jersey several times to see the new diner being constructed by the Mountain View Diner Company.
They build it, and then they pull it apart. And then they bring it it brought our diner in 3 sections on 30, up over past the Ship in the Mountain. We went out there, and followed it in, you know, and I got movies of that coming on there. And it's really something to see, a procession of that type.
You can see the Ship Hotel reflected in the diner's windows as it goes by.
And it was usually a 3-day trip from New Jersey that came here.
Once the pieces were all in Irwin, they were lined up and pushed carefully into position on the foundation by the same trucks that had hauled the sections from New Jersey.
I think the new diner came in, at that time, was $23,000. And that's like, what, a couple $100,000 now.
Back then, Lou was the manager of the new diner, and he says, like all good diners, Cerros had unforgettable waitresses.
Annie Martin, she was the greatest. She worked there until she died here, 10 years ago. She just collapsed on the floor. They took her away and she died. She says, I want to work here all my life. She says, I want to die with my boots on. And she did. She did. She was a great waitress.
In the late 60s, when Lou's father and uncle decided to retire, Lou went on to buy another diner in Greensburg. He ran that Cerros Diner till 1985. He knows there's something special about eating in a diner.
It's the idea that everybody's the same. You get a feeling of closeness, and I think it's just like at home.
And you know, when a diner closes or gets replaced, it can be moved to a new location. The big stainless steel Cerros left Irwin in 1976, and it's up near Butler, PA on Route 422 now. It's called Morgan's Eastland Diner.
You can see this whole program now streaming on WQED Passport. All the details at WQED.org/passport.